Haha. Hello there. All right. I've pressed all my buttons. Today is July 31st, the last day of July in 2022. I'm Shirley Osborne, and I am on day 8 of my 45 days live for the Women's Leadership Circle. I had said yesterday I would come on earlier this morning, and I am earlier than I was yesterday, but not as early as I had intended, because like I said, I remember I said I was going hiking. I went hiking and hiked longer than I had intended because it's such a beautiful day in the desert. Phoenix is in the desert, and Phoenix is a desert, and it's summertime, so the days are 110, 115 degrees. Sometimes I go in my car and my thermometer in my car says 122, 125 degrees. But it poured last night. It rained cats and dogs in Phoenix last night. And so out in the desert, the morning was beautiful. It still is. It's still a little bit overcast. So the sun's not out and hot and dry. So it was a good time to walk. And I walked longer than I intended. So I came back later than I intended. And I'm in what my mother calls my dishabille, in my walking clothes, because I wanted to just make sure I didn't run too late. So, and well, what's the point? I mean, there's not a problem. This is not Instagram. We are on Instagram, but it's not Instagram. We are women working. And women, we don't always work in eyeshadow and lipstick, do we? As a matter of fact, most of the work we do is not in eyeshadow. We couldn't possibly do it in eyeshadow and lipstick, as a matter of fact. And besides, today I'm going to talk about some bearing of our souls. And so bearing of our souls, bearing my face kind of makes sense. It fits, right? So here's me in my dusty, disheveled, and undone self after a 2-hour hike, doing what I said I would do. If this is your first time here, I'm Shirley Osborne. This is, like I said, day number 8 of my 45 days live for the Women's Leadership Circle. And the Women's Leadership Circle is what I'm going to be talking about in more detail today. So I'll leave that for the minute. I want to just go back to yesterday. I talked yesterday about shoes because we wear shoes because we need to protect our feet. And to my mind, if we have to do it, might as well have fun with it. And we do. Women and men both have fun with shoes. Never mind the fact that men make fun of women and our shoes. We're going to talk about shoes some more, because shoes as a metaphor for some of the other things. Yesterday, I gave a simplified version of one of the exercises that we do in trainings. And that particular one was called Mind How You Walk. Mind How You Walk. And what I had people do yesterday, what I invited them to do was outline your feet on a piece of paper. On one side, in one foot, write who you think you are, your values, principles, ideas, thoughts, qualities. And in the other foot, write where your goals, your aspirations, your ambitions, and then try to draw lines and see how they connect, and see if what you say you want, if you are being who you need to be to get there. See if who you say you are, is the version of you that can get you to where you want to go. And therefore how you walk in the world, the journey you're taking to the place you want to go, the things you want to accomplish and acquire and contribute to the world. Are you being the person who can take that journey? And if not, what do you need to look at? What questions do you need to ask yourself? And we can talk about that some more. There's another version of that, which if you're interested, you can do. It's called, how do you stand? Where do you stand? And you do the same thing. These are things that are important. The things I stand for. We can do that another time. Today, I want to talk about the Women's Leadership Circle because it's the reason we're doing this. And I've been getting some questions about this. interestingly enough, I've been asking people to send me your thoughts, your ideas, your questions, and the things you want us to talk about. And the two things that are coming up tops are my story, basically who I am, what I do, why I do this, where I come from, where I'm going. That's how I interpret it. And the Women's Leadership Circle. And as I tell you about the Women's Leadership Circle, I will also be telling you about myself. So we'll do two things in one. For those of you who are new here, remember that these things are short and sweet, 15 minutes. When I come on, the first minute or two, I take to get things set up, and then people can jump on. And then I try to keep it, well, the goal is 15 minutes. We've been going up to 20 minutes and 23 minutes, partly because of the 2 or 3 minutes at the beginning. But the idea is that in this, we put a lot of information out, we engage conversations, and the big overarching goal is to gather 1,000 women in the first instance, 1,000 women into the Women's Leadership Circle to do some of the work that the Women's Leadership Circle is all about. I've invited people to go to my website, shirleyosborne.com, shirleyosborne.com, see what's on there. Will tell you what my head is. There are lots of pictures and there's an about page which says a lot about me and who I am and how I came to be this person and why I'm doing this. There's lots and lots of pictures, because a picture speaks 1,000 words. So there must be so many pictures up there. There are thousands of words about me and my life. And I will continue to talk about me anyway. However, the Women's Leadership Circle has come out of the work I've been doing over decades. It is focused, it's based in my deep knowing that women are as valuable, as competent, as capable as men. And furthermore, that we should be acknowledged and valued. And furthermore, that we have a right, and we should be able to develop ourselves, find all our talents and gifts, develop them, and contribute them to the world. I am firmly convinced that we are depriving ourselves. We have been deprived over centuries, and we continue to deprive ourselves of much that is good, because we deprive women, we deny so many women the opportunity to develop ourselves, to find our inner power and all our gifts and skills and talents. Think about all the women there are, all the girls around the world who are not allowed to go to school, literally not allowed, because their customs and traditions think that women are not supposed to do those things. Women are of no use in those areas, in development and growth and economics and academia and science and so on. And this is all over the world. All over the world, even some of the most developed places, there is a strong enough feeling that women really shouldn't be doing these things. Think of technology. We talk about it all the time. Women are not involved because there are people who still believe that women can't do maths and science is not for women. And it's okay to teach English and history and language and so on, but maths and science and, well, the sciences, physics, chemistry and so on, technology are not for women. This is across the world, okay? So my work with women is literally I'm not, there are other organizations who are trying to change that. And I believe that we have to approach this problem from every angle possible. And my approach to it is develop the women, have the girls and women find the way to their inner power, their skills, their abilities, and put them out and make the contribution. And I keep saying the threat that systems feel, when women step up is inane. It's just, it's illogical. Because when women show up, we improve. When people show up, the more people you have, the more ideas, the more thoughts, the more skills, the more likely are the chances of advancement and development. And so if you deny 51% of humanity the ability to contribute all the gifts and skills and talents and abilities that are there, then you're denying the other 49%. You're seriously denying them their best life. It just seems to make perfect sense to me. And that's the entire philosophy of the Women's Leadership Circle. It's women getting to know, find the skills. And so we focus a lot on self-exploration. And that little exercise I gave yesterday is what some of the things that we do. We encourage and support and provide exercises and strategies for women to explore themselves, to find out, dig into what they like, what they're capable of, what they can develop, what they want to do, the competencies, the natural, the innate skills and abilities or talents that we are born with, yeah, and how to develop them, and also how to feel confident in presenting them to the world. Because again, there are lots of women who know that they are good at these things, but because of how our systems and our societies stonewall and put up blocks and walls, we lose confidence. Psychologists will tell you that girls develop faster than boys, and girls are smarter than boys, literally, up until we get to the age where we get taught, we begin to internalize that you're not supposed to be too loud, not show yourself to be too smart, not be too good, don't be too much of this, too much of that. I remember my own mother. My mother, on the one hand, would say I was her smartest child, and on the other hand, she would say, but you don't get to let other people tell you that. Fortunately for me, I had my father who said, if you're bright, you're bright. And there's this old man I used to know, he died a little while ago, who actually told me, Shirley, what girls, and he said girls because I was talking to him about girls, he said what girls need to understand is if you're good at something, it's for one of two reasons. Either because you were born with it and therefore God gave it to you, or you developed it, you learned, you earned it. So either way, you get to claim it, you get to hold on to it, you get to own it. And that's a lot of what I do with the Women's Leadership Circle. Do a lot of self-exploration and self-discovery. And it always blows my mind when I see women begin to understand that, yeah, I'm good at this. I can do that. I could do this. I did that. I actually accomplished this. And then self-leadership. So there's self-exploration and self-discovery and self-leadership. And we have strategies for that. Self-leadership is about having the discipline to do what needs to be done, to follow your plan. And the discipline requires confidence. It requires self-confidence. The self-confidence comes as you recognize your gifts and your talents. And as you recognize that gifts and talents are equal. Each of them has a reason for being. Each of them contributes something to the world. So we don't have to feel bad because you're not good at maths. You don't have to feel bad because you're not good at music. You're not good at music. You're great at something else. You're great at language. You're a great cook. You are a good people person. You can pull people in. You make people feel good. You are good at sports. There's so many different things we can be good at. So we don't have to be tied into just one. And that's one of the things I tell women over and over and over again. There is no either or. And one of the things I encourage people to do with their children, which fortunately my parents did with me, they let me experiment all kinds of things. All kinds of things. My mother was the kind of person who wanted her children to do that. And let me give you one example. She sent us to Girl Scouts. Call it Girl Guides, where I come from. I wasn't unhappy about going because I knew some of the children who were going, and so I went. And as it turns out, Girl Guides and Boy Scouts used to meet at the same school, in the same schoolyard on the same day. And we'd meet, and the Boy Scouts would take off and go on nature walks and go get coconuts and go to the sea and go on drills and whatever. And they kept us, the Girl Guides, cooking, sewing, doing embroidery. And I couldn't understand that. I didn't want to do that. I told my mom after a while, I don't want to go to Girl Guides. I don't want to do that. I want to do what the boys are doing. I want to do this, yeah? But I also want to be able to go when they have camp and the boys go to camp and we are not allowed. And she said, well, you can stop after a while. After a while. So you'll finish the year. And I did that. And I can tell you, the embroidery just never worked for me, but I make the best pineapple upside down cake you will ever taste. I learned that in Girl Scouts, in Girl Guides, and I perfected it along the way. So something good comes of just about every experience. And you know, sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes that's all it needs to give a girl confidence to develop the other things. Because also, when you develop confidence in one thing, it feeds into the other things. It makes you more willing to attempt, to try, to experiment, to go look and see, to test yourself. And the fact of the matter is, as you test yourself, you strengthen yourself. And as you find your strength, your confidence comes. That's how it works. So we do self-exploration and discovery, self-leadership, and then that takes you to the places you want to go. Self-leadership is it. Once you are willing and able to follow some sort of plan, you see yourself, and have the discipline to allow yourself, and not wait on people to allow you, not wait on the world to allow you, because the world is not keen, is not in a hurry to allow women. In 2022, in the 21st century, in some ways, we are no further ahead where women are concerned, and in some parts of the world, definitely not any further ahead than in 1022. And my belief is that women, we get to push this. We want allies, we want male allies to help and support, but it's up to us. And the way we do that, to my mind, is find our strengths and talents and gifts and just put them out there. Just put them out there. And that's what the Women's Leadership Circle is about. So what we do in the Women's Leadership Circle is we get these women together who want to be bold and daring and experiment and find themselves. And we arrange it so that we can help and support others. So if you go on the website, you will see that we have something called SQ. Well, there's a Women's Leadership Circle, which does these trainings. You become a member, you get all the trainings and the monthly meeting, plus the other actual trainings. And then we have SQ, because a lot of the work that I do is with women who just would not be able to participate in these trainings. And the membership and the training in the Women's Leadership Circle is rock bottom, because I've been in so many trainings. I mean, I've been to corporate trainings that for 3 days you pay $4,000 or $5,000. Lots of women, most women can't afford that. But most of the women who would really benefit from that are in the group who cannot afford that, who are not in the places that they can afford that. And so with Women's Leadership Circle, we provide that. Membership is $50 a year. $50 a year, and we provide these services because it's an exchange, and because I've been doing this long enough, and because we have the internet, and we don't have to be, you know, in big arenas and big concert, big stadiums and so on doing this work. So it's a lot easier. You know, I have paid $300-400 a month for coaches in the past. You don't have to do that. The Women's Leadership Circle is set up specifically to support women, ordinary, everyday women, in accessing this kind of training. And S Cubed is specifically for women who live in really underprivileged circumstances. A lot of the work that I do is with those women, and I know the difference it makes. I've done this with girls and with women, and I know the difference it makes, but they don't have access to this. And through the membership of the Women's Leadership Circle, we get to provide that. And then, of course, there is the monthly, and I'll talk to you about the monthly later. It's another thing that we get to do because of membership. And the reason why these are in there is because I've said this before. So many of our organizations, even the women's organizations, work within the parameters set by the systems that already exist, which are designed by men for specific outcomes. And so we have these women's organizations which are working with that same mindset, that same philosophy. We work in terms of numbers. How many women did you serve in this amount of time? And did this number of women do this, succeed in doing that or the other? We know that life is not always like that. We know that sometimes you need more of something and less of something else. And that's where women come in. This is what women do. We navigate the world in ways that men find mysterious, but they are normal, natural to women, right? So that's what the Women's Leadership Circle is about, in brief. And I'll talk about it some more, obviously, over the next 37 days or whatever. So, but in the meantime, go online and see what we do, see what there is, and think about joining the Women's Leadership Circle. Like I said, part of what we want to do is bring together 1,000 women, which is why my friends pushed me out and said, go do this. You want this done, go do this. And so I am out here pulling women together so we can do this. So we can do this for ourselves, with ourselves. Because we need to be working on this issue from every single angle. And this one last thing, one of the important things to me is that there are two groups of women in the world. There are the women in the developing world, quote unquote, and there are the women in the developed world, quote unquote. And what I know, because I straddle, I think what I have on my LinkedIn profile is something somebody said to me, or one of my profiles, I can't remember. Somebody described me like this I think I was in Zambia at a Commonwealth Lawyers Conference, and somebody described me as small island girl become world-class leader. And that's what I have on my thing, because the world of women doesn't get to be led by any specific ideology that has us all be one homogeneous entity. We are all so different, and it is our differences that make the world exciting. It's our differences that spark things in our brains, our differences that lead to new things. And so it is really, really important to me that the women of the quote unquote developing world have a voice, a real strong voice that is not coming out of volunteer and charity and aid, a voice of autonomy and ownership and confidence and personal power. Because we are all of those things. We have all of those things. And it is really, really important to me. And that is one of the reasons why I continue to do this work. That's one of the reasons why I've designed the Women's Leadership Circle like this. Because so many of the women who can most benefit from these don't get the opportunity. And I want to organize it, arrange it so that we can give them the opportunity. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. So think about this. We've done our 15 minutes plus. Think about it. Think about what you want your role to be with respect to women in the world. What you want to contribute, or what you want to accomplish and achieve for yourself, and see if there's any possibility within the Women's Leadership Circle for you to begin to do that. The fact of the matter is that the more of us there are doing this, the more likely we are to succeed. The more of us there are working on different aspects of women's place of equality in the world, women's being able to contribute to an improved and enhanced world, the better, the more likely we are to succeed, and the more likely we are to succeed more quickly. We want to create an improved and enhanced world. And we can do that if we are willing to make the bold, daring decisions. All right? So I will see you tomorrow. Think about this and give yourself some time. Check out the website. Think about you and what you want to do. And maybe tomorrow also I'll give another self-exploration exercise that you can do, because it all comes out of that. When you explore yourself and you really dig deep, most of us don't. And so we don't even know what we really, really, really want to be doing in the world, or how much we could actually contribute to the world. I want to help you do that. So have yourselves a pleasant day, a pleasant evening, sweet dreams if it's nighttime for you, and I will see you tomorrow. And invite some people for tomorrow. Take good care.